So I switched it up a little bit this week. I've been very tactical lately and giving a lot of strategies on communication, treatment, how not to deal with your clients kind of being assholes. But this week, I wanted to dive into something that I think we all need to hear, just kind of a hard reality that at the end of the day, nobody really cares about your certifications, that you treat athletes, that you're some 10th level Jedi master in whatever technique. They really don't care. At the end of the day, they just want you to fix them and give them results, where your results are actually your certifications. So in this podcast, I share some stories that happened over the past couple of weeks where I just saw ego really crushing people, especially on LinkedIn, where they think that just because they treat some professional athletes that the world should just bow down to them and everyone should flock to their business. And I've been there too. I've been down that road. Ego's crushed me a lot over the years. So in this podcast, I just really dive in and help you have some real conversations with yourself and understand that nobody really cares. And all you got to do is work harder, because at the end of the day, all that really matters is that you're fixing people and you're getting results. I hope you guys enjoy the show. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Soft Tissue Revolution podcast. Dr. Matt Maggio here. Thank you so much for stopping by and giving me your most valuable, unrenewable resource, which is your time and your attention. That means the world to me. Getting more and more people joining the revolution from all over the world, more and more downloads of the podcast, and just a lot of good feedback. So going to keep it going. You know, these last, it seems like 6 or 8 weeks, been doing a lot of just tactical stuff, helping you with just understanding treatment, giving a different perspective, how to raise your prices, how to not take shit from your clients, all that stuff. And I realized it's been a long time since I've kind of just ranted or just spit out some fire on the motivation side and things like that. And this just really felt like a time to do it. I had a couple interactions over the past couple of weeks on LinkedIn, and they were just one of those stories where you're like, just makes you shake your head and you're like, I should talk about that on the podcast. So what I really wanted to dive in today was the idea that nobody really cares about your certifications, that you treat athletes, that you're a level 12 master or whatever, you're a self-proclaimed guru. Nobody really cares. Well, maybe your husband or your wife, maybe your mom or your dad, they'll pretend like they care because they kind of have to out of obligation, but the majority of people really don't give a shit. They don't care at all. But there is one person that really does care about certifications, that you treat athletes, famous people, that you're a level 12 Jedi master, whatever. And that's you. Even more importantly, not just you, but your ego. So what does all this mean? So when I talk about ego, people genuinely think about ego as the ego, from Sigmund Freud and all this. It's like a deeper, unconscious, blah, 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 blah. I even have a degree in psychology and I don't even remember half of that shit. But what I'm actually talking about is ego itself. Really great book. I highly recommend. I recommend all his books. Ryan Holiday. It's a book called Ego is the Enemy. See how he said ego is the enemy? And a lot of times when he goes on podcasts, people say the ego and he always corrects them. He's like, no, this isn't the ego. It's ego. I even wear this pendant around pendant around my neck that says ego is the enemy. And on the back part, it says ego sucks us down. And this is what we live in society. We live in this egotistical, like, I'm so great, I'm the shit, all that. And I guess that I'm equipped to talk about this because shit, I'm going to be 35, I'm going to be 36, probably up until the age of 32, 33. My ego was bigger than the majority of people out there. We always used to say my ego needed an extra opening in the door because it was so big to get through. And it just got me thinking of how much ego holds us back. And we really think that people care about so many things. Like they care about what we do for certifications, that we treat athletes, that we do all this. And they really just don't care. The only people that care are you. And I've been there. I get it. And ego shows up so much in our business, in our lives, in our practices, in everything that we do. And it fucks with us on so many levels. So why does nobody care? Think about all the shit that's going on in the world. People are so bogged down. We're in the middle of a fucking pandemic. Like it or not, whatever your feel on that is, but we're in the middle of a pandemic. People got a lot of other shit to worry about. They don't really care about what you do, what makes you special. They just don't care. So I had a really good story. I'm going to share two on LinkedIn that I got over the past couple of weeks. I'll start with the first one. And I don't even think this person will listen to the podcast because I've sent them a couple different links when they've asked for help and they've never, reached back out. So I don't care if I talk about them. That's totally fine. So I was scrolling through LinkedIn like I do, and many of you have connected with me on there. And if you haven't, connect with me on there. I put up some good stuff and useful information that can help you. There's some ego right there. So this person had a big, long, heartfelt post about how they were just so frustrated because they just want to work with professional athletes. And they have worked with some professional athletes, but just can't get ahead. And they're doing all this work to get in with the professional athletes and take their practice to the next level. And they just can't do it. So, and then it turned into some other things too of like, oh, well, it's discriminatory because I'm a woman, or they want to sexually harass me and stuff like that. My podcast last week talked about how to avoid those things and those sexual favors and stuff like that. I'm sure that is an issue, but it's not the main issue. The reason is that nobody really cares. So I reached out to this person. I was like, hey, sorry to hear you're dealing with that. It sucks when, women get shit on by pervert men. Like that sucks. But, you can still keep going and you can find other people. You don't always have to just treat athletes. You don't have to focus solely on treating athletes. There's lots of other people out there. There's plenty of regular people too. This person wrote back, said, I thank you for your, your consideration and thinking of me. That means a lot. And they came back and they go, well, I've been doing all these things and I'm trying to get in with these professional teams, and I got this one NFL player to shoot some video with me, and I spent all this money on ads on Instagram and Facebook and all that, and I got nobody. No clients came in. I just didn't get anybody. And I was like, okay, well, why do you think that? They came back and said, well, it's because of the algorithm. It's because I don't understand the ads. People don't, they're not as intrigued as they should be. Things don't work. There's a lot of blame biases. Like a lot of it's so-and-so's fault, not my fault. I'm good. I'm fucking great at what I do. Blah, 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 blah. Nothing like, hey, maybe my shit isn't that good. Maybe people don't give a fuck that I treat athletes. Maybe people aren't looking for that. All of these things. But we still think this. We think, oh, well, I'm a master, or I treat athletes, so I'm the shit. I'm a sports massage therapist. No one gives a fuck. No one cares. No one cares. Once again, nobody cares. And that sucks when you hear that. And it's hard. But I see so many people putting their whole practice and their whole business based off of that. Another one I had a video up talking about why deep tissue massage doesn't work. And I actually explained in the video why it doesn't work. And this girl attacked me and said, as someone that treats multiple athletes in every sport, this video is misleading and you're an idiot, blah, blah, blah. I look at her profile and all it says is, I treat pro athletes. I treat pro athletes. And she even had to remind you of how fucking great she was. I treat pro athletes. I'm like, no one gives a fuck. Once again, nobody cares. Survey says nobody cares. So where does ego show up? And where can it hold you back? Number one, I used to have it. I had the same thing. I called it my technique wall. We all have that wall where all the certifications we did. Everything is lined up nice and free. All the certifications that we did. And we have that proud. We're like, yeah, I worked hard for that. I did every certification you could think of outside of school. And you know what? I thought I was the shit. I really did. And when I got out of school, reality hit me. I'm like, people don't really care, but I kept fighting that and I want to do that. Then it shows up again on your website. Your website too is all about you and what you do and what makes you special and how great you are. And that's awesome. Like I think you are great. I think you're a great person, but the world doesn't care. Nobody cares. At the end of the day, you have to figure out how to communicate effectively to the client, how you're going to fix their problem, how you're going to solve their problem. They don't give a shit about the details. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've treated lots of professional athletes over the years. And you know what? I've never treated them for free. Think about that. Are you treating these athletes for free with hopes that they're going to like give you a shout out or give you, some kudos on Instagram or Facebook? Probably not. And if you're doing shit for free, they don't value it. So the way I work is I charge $400 an hour if an athlete wants me to work on them, plus travel costs and everything like that. And you know what? The really good ones, the really high-end ones, they pay for it because they want that. Most of the people that you're doing free shit for and you're having this false idea that you're going to be great and everyone's going to come see you because you treat athletes, nobody cares. I keep saying that, but nobody cares. So there's an opposite part of this. So I have a great coaching client. She'll probably get mad that I even talk about her. I know she listens to the podcast. And she treats a lot of athletes, a lot of professional athletes. She never boasts about it. She never brags about it. I even try to get her to be a little more boastful about it and be like, yeah, I treat all these people. But you know what? People come to her. They pay her for her services. She doesn't do shit for free. And she's absolutely killing it. But you know what? She works harder because the big thing is nobody cares. So work harder. And she works harder and she's amazing at what she does because she's humble. She doesn't have ego. It doesn't suck her down. That's the opposite. The other girls on LinkedIn, we're all about, well, I'm fucking great and here's why I'm great, but the world's not fair to me because I put all this effort in and nobody comes because nobody cares. Maybe your shit isn't that good. When's the last time you had a true sit down with yourself and be like, am I really as good as I think? Are you just someone that takes some bullshit continuing education credits? You've convinced yourself that because you treat a couple athletes that you're amazing? No, your results are your certifications, not your certifications, not who you treat. It's your results. And at the end of the day, people want to get fixed. They want to know how you're going to fix their problem. They don't care how you do it. They just want to know that it's going to work. You know what the fuck you're doing and you're going to be able to fix it. But that ego is crushing you. And it's crushed me for years too. I still have a pretty bad one, but I'm working on it. And I realize when I do it, I kind of laugh. I even named my ego. I call him Larry. When he acts up, I'm like, hey, Larry, you're being a real motherfucker today. And I laugh and I go about my day. But if you're struggling and you're not getting where you want to be and you're frustrated and you're like, I treat athletes, I'm this person or I'm this master, just have a conversation with yourself and understand that nobody really cares. And the only person that cares is you. And it's really holding you back from reaching your full potential and being able to help people. You know, at the end of the day, how much work you put in, that if you live, eat, and breathe this shit, if this is not just your occupation, but this is your calling in life, you know it. And you know when you show up. It's the people that haven't put the work in and they try to hide it with other bullshit. And if your first thing that you want to do is let people know how fucking great you are, you're never going to succeed. Because you know what? Greatness speaks for itself and it speaks in the results. So I use a lot of bad words today, but it just blows my mind how many people just, they think they're more than they are. And we all need a piece of humble pie. The world has given us a big kick in the ass of humble pie over this last year. And if you're struggling and you're like, man, I just need to get more athletes. Like, do you really? Are athletes even that great to treat? You know, a lot of times they're a pain in the ass. You got to go around their schedule. You don't even get paid what you should. I'd much rather just treat a bunch of like regular ass people that appreciate what I do and make a really good living and have a life. Because a lot of times when you're chasing that athlete, you're not going to have freedom in your life or your business. And there's plenty of regular ass people out there that need good treatment, that won't beat up your body. They'll respect what they do, what you do, and your ego will stay at bay. So have a real talk with yourself. Do I have ego? I'm sure you do. We all do. But understand that you have to take personal responsibility, not be a victim of the circumstances and don't blame other situations. Ask yourself, what have I done to truly be able to say that I'm the best at what I've done, what I do in my entire area? And most people aren't. And no one's really willing to put the work in. But the ones that are the ones that are absolutely killing it right now. So that's all I got for today. Hope this hit you in the right way. I hope you made it through the end, through all my profanities. Appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. And we will see you on the next one. Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the show. If you're a massage therapist and you want to learn more about our new methods that allow you to easily double your income without working any harder or getting burnout, we have some free resources for you. 1, join our Facebook group, The Soft Tissue Revolution. 2, subscribe to our YouTube channel. 3, request our free training series. 4, leave us a 5-star review and share this podcast with anyone else you know it can help. Links to all our channels and free training are in the show notes.